Folks, this film, if I even want to call it that, this pain, this 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 thing is something that I don't just dislike. I despise. I despise this fucking thing. I despise and detest everything about this monstrosity of a motion picture. This is one of those films that really is so bad it kills me. Every time I watch this film, or every time I think about it, a part of me dies inside. It sucks my soul, soaks it in gasoline, and lights it on fire, and then shoves it straight back up my ass and immolates me. I absolutely loathe this film. And yes, when it comes to me and Creepshow 3, I have some serious grade A 100% beef with this fucking movie. And this is a long time coming. Like, I have held back my feelings and my thoughts and my emotions on this movie for years. I did a little funny, off the top of my head, kind of parody song about it years ago, but that's all I did. I don't think I ever actually reviewed the movie, and if I did, I don't remember doing it. So it's like doing it for the first time. This is just something that's been eating away at me. And you can kind of see in my face, like just talking about this fucking thing and thinking about it is causing my skin to get a rash. So for my own health and for my own sanity, I'm going to get this shit done and over with this video. This is the final nail in the coffin for Creepshow 3. So this absolutely putrid pile of piss and bile is directed by Anna Clavel and James Doodleson. These are two hacks that don't deserve to be anywhere near a camera, let alone a computer to write a screenplay, and definitely did not deserve to be anywhere near this franchise. What they did to Creepshow the franchise is a sin. It's a crime. It's a crime against cinema, a crime against humanity. This is the type of destruction of a franchise that should have individuals who are responsible for it thrown in jail or punished in some way, shape, or form, because this franchise didn't deserve this. This franchise didn't deserve 3 times the anal rape and 3 times the hemorrhoids. It didn't deserve that at all. You had 2 really solid, if not great, installments in Creepshow and Creepshow 2, some of the best horror anthologies out there, period. And then this fucking piece of shit comes along and takes a giant steaming dump all over the entire franchise. I highly doubt that neither of these hacks really had any genuine passion for Creepshow. They just knew it was a well-recognized name, knew it had a cult following. They somehow finagled a way to get the rights and the name and decided, we're just going to use it and we're going to write it and we're going to just fuck it up the ass. We're going to leave. We're going to come in it and then we're just going to leave and infect it with STDs and walk the fuck off and just let it fucking fester and die. So I guess there are also multiple different writers for this. Anna Clavel wrote Alice. James Doodleson wrote The Professor's Wife. Scott Frizzell wrote The Haunted Dog. Pablo C. Papano wrote Call Girl. And Alex Ugolo wrote The Radio. It says it's based on Creepshow by Stephen King and George A. Romero, but it isn't based on it at all. There's nothing Creepshow about this. It doesn't even have the same kind of comic panel styles. It doesn't have, none of these stories are from Creepshow comics. This isn't even really inspired by EC Comics. There's nothing about this that is Creepshow other than the title. This should have just been called Professor Wackadoodle's Tales of Terror. That's really what this should have been called. Professor... I mean, that's really what it is. It's not fucking Creepshow. It's Crapshow. It's Crapshow 3. So, it starts out with this really pathetic, cheap as fuck animated sequence. Because, Creepshow has animated stuff. I swear to God, I don't even think the people who did this saw Creepshow or Creepshow 2, or they saw like bits and pieces, they saw the trailer, or they know a little bit about it. Maybe they saw it one time when they were like 8 years old. Because the kind of things that they come away with as to what a Creepshow film is makes you think that they don't even really know what the franchise is all about. And you open up with this cheap as fuck Newgrounds Flash animation intro with this fucking... I don't know what gender it is. I don't really care. Some fucking kid in a hoodie who has a dog, and there's a hot dog truck that goes by. The dog, I guess, ends up in the hot dog truck, and the whole gag is, the kid in the hoodie who's dragging behind a fucking radio flyer could just fly the fuck away. The kid drags the fucking radio flyer behind him, the hoodie, goes up to the hot dog truck, asks for a hot dog, that gets a hot dog, and the joke is, it's the dog, get it? Because the dog went into the hot dog truck and gets served a hot dog, and it's a dog, get it? Hot dog, get it? Dog, hot dog. Fuck you, fuck this movie. God, it's so fucking terrible. I mean, I swear to God, this is gonna give me a fucking aneurysm. I mean, this thing, I'm not even a minute in, and I'm already hurting. I am already fucking hurting with this stupid, pathetic, cheap as fuck animated sequence. And it has one of the worst opening titles I think I've ever seen. Because it appears, the titles for the film appear as ketchup on a hot dog. I'm not making this shit up. I mean, I couldn't make this shit up if I tried to think of something that was deliberately awful. I couldn't even think of that. Who the fuck comes up with this shit? Who thought, that's a great idea, great way to open the movie with cheap as fuck Newgrounds Flash animation and a fucking ketchup title with the fucking Creepshow 3. God, it might as well be the blood from this franchise. That might as well be what it is. Just squeezed right out of that bottle, right in onto the opening titles. And then and then it cuts to like there is, I guess there also was something in before, which is like this fortune teller bitch who's like it's like a comic book panel, but not really. They try to animate it, but it's cheap. It's lame, and it's not authentic in the slightest. So there really isn't a wraparound. It just has this whole thing where there's a framing device where everything happens in the same place, uh, and they connect with one another, whether it's through characters or it's through certain items that are found throughout the movie. It's like one of those. It's like the makers of this movie saw the trivia track for Creepshow and saw that in the film the marble ashtray is shown throughout the entire movie in every segment, and that's what they thought Creepshow was all about. It's all about the framing device. No, it's not. You fucking asshole. Or assholes. So the first segment is Alice. Oh my god. This is one of the worst and most poorly conceived and written anthology segments I have ever seen. This is so bad and so poorly thought out that it is mind-blowing. So it deals with this stuck-up, preppy, prissy bitch named Alice, played by Stephanie Petit, and she comes home to find her father meddling with some universal remote, because it opens up with her bitching about her life to her friend on the phone, and you just wanted to take that phone and smack her in the head and knock her out. And so it's not a good start at all. I will say this, I guess the actress does a good job playing this stuck up snotty bitch, but that's not really saying much. It's the kind of character that you hate, but you don't love to hate. There's just hate. There's no love to it. So it's already off to a great start, and then she goes back to her house and sees her father messing around with the remote, and he messes around with the settings and causes reality to change. So whenever he presses one of the buttons on the device, reality changes. So in one instance, he presses something messing around with a color, and it causes the entire family to become African American. And then later he messes around with the remote, and while he's in that reality, and causes everyone to become Hispanic. And you think, okay, this is just some kind of lame Twilight Zone shit. What does this have to do with Creepshow? This is not the kind of story that would ever be in an EC comic. And what is this shit? What does Alice have to do with anything? Why do we have this remote? Where did it come from? Nobody fucking knows. It just appears. It got a remote and does shit. And then this segment doesn't even know what it's trying to do. It's so fucking idiotic in terms of how it is structured. It makes no sense. So you have the remote, you have the stucky preppy bitch, and whenever he presses the remote, she reacts in some way. There's some moments where I guess there's some rubber ball that keeps getting thrown at her, which I guess ties into this ridiculous bullshit twist at the end, which I don't even know if it's a twist. It's just a fucking crazy ass shift in storytelling that had nothing building up to it. If it's a twist, it's a terrible twist. So you have this remote, changes reality, and then every time reality is changed, for some reason Alice starts looking worse for wear. Like her hand gets all fucked up, and her fingers fuse together. She starts getting like pus filled pores that appear on her body and cancerous growths and shit. And you're like, okay, why is that happening? Why is she the only one that's getting these cancerous growths and no one else who's messing with the remote is getting any of this? And by the end of the segment, you're just left scratching your head and wondering what the fuck you just watched and what the fuck happened. Because she gradually apparently mutates into what is supposedly her true form. But once you know what the true form is, the makeup makes no sense. It doesn't match with, spoiler, the whole stupid twist is that the crazy ass kooky ass professor who's a major character in this, he's the one that created the remote, and he uses it and I guess turns Alice into a rabbit. Cause you get it, Alice in Wonderland? But it doesn't make any fucking sense. Why was she turning into a walking tumor? It's her true form? Her true form is a rabbit. Why wasn't she starting to turn into a rabbit? Why weren't there other things that were, rabbit-like about her transformation? There's fucking nothing. It's just she gets fucking cancer growths and shit and gets uglier and uglier, and her parents mess around with the remote. They turn off the TV, I think, and then that changes reality again. They get turned back to a white family, but then they don't have any memory that Alice even existed, or actually they do, but they see Alice she's all like mutated and they're freaking out. The professor gets the remote, messes with the settings, turns Alice into a rabbit, and then changes reality so that Alice never was born at all. Then you end with stuff where the mother is like, oh, Alice, that's a pretty name. And then you're just like, and she looks over at the husband like, oh yeah, right? Alice, huh? We're gonna bang later and have a kid and then name it Alice? My God. This is just the first segment. This is just the first segment, folks. This isn't the second to last segment or the last segment. This is the first fucking segment, and it only gets worse from here. It doesn't make any fucking sense whatsoever. What the hell was Anna Clavel smoking? What the fuck was she doing? What kind of drugs was she taking when she wrote this? It really does play out like drug-fueled ramblings. That's really what it plays out like. I mean, he even has a repeated gag. This fucking movie's making my nose itch like fuck. So, it has this repeated gag where they show this exchange with the family where they're giving Alice shit for not having an ass. I'm like, yeah, great. Remind me of ass while I'm watching your movie. This sucks ass. That's really a great idea. And it's a repeated joke. It's a completed gag. Every time the remote is pressed and the reality changes, she then, there's the quotes of, well, she's never gonna get a husband because she has no ass. Who talks like that anyway? Someone who's fucking high. Someone who's off their fucking tits writing a fucking script. That's who writes or says lines of dialogue like that. So, that's it for Alice. The next segment is the radio, which this is a predictable, boring, really tiresome, overlong, wannabe Outer Limits segment where you have this loser security guard named Jerry, played by A.J. Bowen, who apparently he's so dirt poor and broke, he can't even afford to go to a thrift store and buy a TV or afford a basic cable package or use antennas to be able to get cable, free cable, because this guy's still fucking listening to a radio. He's still listening to a radio like it's the 50s. Or even before that. Like, oh, I gotta listen to the radio because there's nothing else. I mean, I understand it. He's trying to pay, he pays for an apartment, and he has a kind of a shitty job that probably doesn't pay much, but I don't buy for 1 second that he can't afford to get a TV at a thrift store and use the fucking cable and use to get an antenna. I don't fucking buy it. I'm sorry. So, this guy, I guess he has a thing for radios. He likes things old-fashioned. So his radio fucks up and stops working. So then he goes and buys this radio, a new radio, from this homeless street vendor, who is a reoccurring character after this segment. Why? I have no idea, because this guy is annoying. He is ear-gratingly, brain-grindingly annoying. He is so fucking irritating. I think it's like a real homeless guy or something. I don't know. His whole shtick is, oh, you want a radio? We got radios. We got remotes. We got all of these things. Yeah! Like, he just, I'm not fucking making this shit up. Like, this is a repeated thing for this guy. He just randomly fucking yells for no fucking reason. He's literally the old man who yells at a cloud. So, Jerry buys this radio, and he stiffs the street vendor to get it. And this mysterious new radio is far from ordinary, because it starts talking to Jerry. And it's this female voice and sounds like a sex phone operator. You know, and she really does. She has a sex phone operator voice with a sultry tone and everything. I mean, I'm wondering if this was one of I'm honestly seriously wondering if this was a fetish of Alex Ugolo. He really got off on radios talking dirty to him. So this radio sounds like it's about 2 seconds away from deep throating Jerry. Starts talking to him and giving him all this advice and telling him what he should do and telling him where there's money and essentially pussy whipping him. This radio is pussy whipping Jerry, and the guy is such a cuck, such a loser with no confidence at all, that he just buys into these schemes by the radio and listens to the radio. And so the radio tells him to go up to to go to a location where there's it's like a safe house where some pimp is hiding some money. And he goes up into the safe house and goes through the window and into the safe house. And this film is so fucking cheap that there's a scene where Jerry gets attacked by a cat, but you don't see a cat attack him, even like a fake cat, like a stuffed cat, nothing. You just hear a cat noise, a cat yowl, and the guy's fucking freaked out. And the radio's like, "What, you scared of the little pussy?" And he's like, "No." What he clearly was. And I'm like, you can't even get a cat? I mean, you have a stock footage of a cat? Something? It's just the sound of a cat scares this guy. I'm like, great. This guy's being pussy whipped by a radio, and now he's getting scared by ghost pussies. What the fuck is going on here? So, eventually, this story ends the way that you think it's going to. The guy gets fucked over because he's a loser. He gets infatuated with this hooker, and the radio's trying to tell him, you know, you can't trust her. And of course, he has a case. She kills him. But then there's the pimp who lost his money, who shows up and kills the hooker. And then apparently he has his own radio in the form of a boombox, and it's the same sex phone operator who's telling him to diversify, invest in stocks and bonds. And you're just like, yeah, that's so scary, and so definitely what I want out of a Creepshow film. Stocks and bonds, investments, and sex phone operator radios, and pussy whipped guys named Jerry who need to get some fucking balls. Yeah, no, that's definitely what I fucking. It's definitely what I want out of Creepshow. So the radio is definitely a segment that you just want to turn off. And it goes on way too long. The guy's such a sad sack of a character. You get sick of him in no time. And you don't give a shit. You don't give a shit what happens to him. Who the fuck cares? Then you have the third segment, which is called Call Girl. You have this mysterious call girl named Rachel, who is known as the Call Girl Killer. And she receives a request from what she thinks is just some, you know, really shy teenager who wants to get laid, who has a rich family. And she's going to have him be her next victim. This is another segment just so poorly written. I mean, this call girl killer is not subtle at all with her kills. She's killing homeless people on the street in broad daylight. She's driving up to, you know, places in her fucking car. God damn it, this fucking movie is fucking with me. I mean, physically. My nose was not itching this much until I started talking about Creepshow 3. Like, Jesus fucking Christ. So this call girl killer, she's like in broad daylight killing people, driving up to the sides of, you know, places and side streets and cleaning knives and shit. She keeps her knives or murder weapons in the glove compartment. So this guy, he decides to call her for a good time. And I mean, you could see this twist coming from the fucking Milky Way, but you know, this film, like I said, it's Creepshow 3, and it's full of crappy writing, and it's just full of crap. So the twist is this. What you think is some like virgin teen who wants to get laid. Oh well, Victor, he's actually a killer himself, but he's also a monster. Ooh, oh my God, I'm so shocked. I can't believe it. And for some reason they decided when they show that his monstrous side, like they did this whole thing where I guess they have it where he dies, or it makes it appear as the call girl killer stabs him to death, but then the whole scary spooky thing is that, oh, he's not really dead, and then she gets eaten by him because he's also a killer. But it's just a weird structure. But what's even weirder is for some reason they thought it was scary, I guess, to have this guy have this fucking big giant mouth with teeth. And I'm like, what is up with it? Is this guy some bastard child of a night of lovemaking and raunchy sex between Fluffy, the monster from the crate, and some drunk chick from a bar. Like, what the fuck is this? Is this is this guy just a bastard Fluffy? Like, what the fuck? Has this fucking giant teeth and a big mouth, and it's silly. It's silly. It's not scary. It's the complete opposite of that. So uses his big mouth and bites her in the neck. And then later there's another segment, the last segment, where it shows that he's not alone. There's more of these big mouthed ghouls or vampires or something. And I'm like, man, Fluffy can really crank him out. But oh fuck. And I mean, that's it. That's all that segment is. That's it. It's a very short segment. I will give it that. At least it was short. At least it was short. It came early. All right. Then we have the fourth segment, which is if you think the Alice segment was stupid, I think the Alice segment was an example of awe-inspiring idiocy. The professor's wife really gives that segment a run for its money when it comes to which one is truly the dumbest. So this involves two former students who visit Professor Dayton, who's essentially, in all honesty, the main character in this film. And that's why it should just be Professor Dayton's Dastardly Tales of Terror, or Professor Dayton's devilishly ghoulish stories, or anything other than Creepshow, because it's just, I mean, even the humor doesn't match with the campy kind of easy comics kind of stuff. It's just really poor, awful, and embarrassing type of humor that's cringe-inducing. So this segment, this is so fucking dumb. So you have these two former students that are supposed to be Professor Dayton's A students. Like, these are the students that were the top of the class. And I'm wondering why. Because these are two of the dumbest fucks I have ever seen. Like, these two really put the capital D in dumb. So they go to visit the professor and meet his fiancée, Kathy. Because they had been victims of practical jokes in the past by their professor involving robot snakes and shit, and they had overheard the professor talking about if he could make the perfect woman, he'd given her an off switch, and about this top secret thing, that project he's working on. These fucking dipshits, they assume right off the bat that this weird kind of off-kilter lady is a robot. They don't think, oh, she might have something wrong with her. Oh, she might be from another country. No. Automatically in their airhead skull cavities, the thought just pops in there, robot. She must be a robot, man. She must be the professor's experiment. And so you're thinking, okay, right. But where this segment goes next is a whole new level of stupidity that it just leaves you speechless. They knocked the woman out instead of doing other tests to try to show if she's a robot or not. They just start fucking dismembering her. They start cutting her up into pieces. And then these fucking dipshit, dumbass twats, they're like, oh, they start fondling the flesh and the severed limbs. And like, my God, it's so realistic. look at all the blood. It even feels like real blood. Oh my God! Look at how soft the skin feels. It feels like real skin. And then you have like stuff where they're. And they say stuff like, God, so stupid. It's like causing my brain to just fry itself. So one of the characters, he has the severed head of Kathy. He cuts open the top of the head and pulls out the brain, and he's like, look, it even jiggles the right way. You're just fucking Christ on a cracker. Oh my God. So this segment ends exactly how you really think it would. They eventually get a fucking clue once they find a scrapbook. They put their bloody hands all over it, open it up, and wouldn't you know it, she wasn't a robot. She was a mail order bride from Russia, and she had some amnesia problems. Oh, wow. That's such a surprise. No, it isn't. If you have one brain cell, if you just, they didn't even any. If you had one brain cell, that one brain cell would be able to have one sliver, one spark that would make the brain think, maybe she's just different. And if you had more than one brain cell, if you had many brain cells, you would be able to decipher, oh, she's acting weird. She's probably from another country. Or might have a brain injury. Wow. What a novel concept. What a astonishing revelation. And what were these writers think? Why did this writer think that this was, I don't know, scary, or let alone a story that needed to be told, or this is how it should have been told? I mean, James Doodleson? I mean, you make the guys from Dude, Where's My Car look like fucking geniuses in comparison. I guarantee those two dudes would write a way better script. I guarantee it. And Doodleson seems to just love this professor guy. Like, he thinks he's like the funniest thing ever. And he's not. I mean, he makes Bill Nye look like a comedy auteur in comparison. So at this point, I just want it to end. I want this torture to end. I want this ball scraping, ass chafing, eye gouging, throat penetrating torture to end. But no. It still has to continue on with the last segment, which goes on for fucking forever. The last segment is called Haunted Dog. And this segment, I'm not kidding when I say it goes on forever. This is one of the longest segments in the film. It's like 25-30 minutes long, and 28 minutes of it are fucking filler. So there's not even a logical or good reason for this segment to be as long as it is. It's just fucking long and excruciatingly hard to sit through. So you have this dickhole, dickhead, dick fuck doctor who is horrible at his job, Dr. Farwell. He's working on a 30-day court-ordered sentence at a free clinic, but he's an absolutely insufferable piece of human garbage, and he's like treating people like shit, giving them wrong diagnoses, and there's like not one but multiple montage sequences that just consist of this guy being the biggest raging asshole on the planet, and you're just like, and it's not in a way that's entertaining or enjoyable. This guy's just so fucking insufferably horrible that you just want to end him right then and there. The moment you see him, you just want to kick his fucking teeth in and curb stomp his ass. But no, it just drags on and on. So he shows no sympathy at all to a woman, to a young girl who has cancer, because he himself is fucking cancer. And much like all the other segments in here, you have other characters that pop up, like the vampire guy, and he's the one that's having these wild parties that the doctor likes to go to with bags of pills and shit. This guy's a pill popper too, the doctor. Loves to pop some pills, loves to party. And he goes to get a hot dog. He cuts in front of everybody in the line, gets the hot dog, sees a homeless guy. The homeless guy's trying to, the hot dog, can you give me the hot dog? Can you help me? And the guy's like, oh, fuck you. And then he drops his hot dog on the sidewalk. He gives the homeless guy the hot dog. And then the homeless guy goes, oh, thank you. And then he eats the hot dog. And then he fucking chokes to death on the hot dog. And you're like, okay, what does this have to do with anything? So he chokes to death on the hot dog. And you're like, okay, where's this going to go from here? The doctor continues to be the biggest dick that ever lived. And the worst doctor that has ever taken a Hippocratic oath. And he's going to parties and shit. He's getting fucked out of his mind. And he every now and then he'll see like an apparition of the homeless guy where he's got the hot dog. He's like, it was a good dog. Thank you. Thanks for the hot dog. Thank you. And the guy's like, oh my god, oh, hot dog. I mean, it's almost like they're trying to do the hitchhiker thing from Creepshow 2, but it's so spectacularly shitty. It's a spectacularly shitty job of it. Because I'm sorry, thanks for the ride, lady, is way more intimidating or scary or at all or eerie than thanks for the hot dog. And then this segment ends in a way that makes you question whether or not this has even had anything supernatural about it whatsoever. The doctor has a really bad bender, collapses on a sidewalk somewhere, sees the apparition, who I guess he pulls a hot dog out of his mouth, and there's like supposed to be like, ooh, it's scary because he's like barfing up a hot dog, or he's pulling out a hot dog out of his chest, and it's just not. It's a fucking hot dog. It doesn't matter what you do. It doesn't matter if that hot dog has the devil's fucking dick cheese in it. It doesn't fucking matter. It's not scary. It's a hot dog. It's a fucking hot dog and be possessed by every demon known to man. And I can't even believe the thought process. It's just pew. Let's make a horror anthology. You know what? That would be a great idea for a segment. A haunted fucking hot dog. Yeah, genius. Genius concept, Scott Frizzell. I mean, wow. If you haven't gotten your Oscar yet for best screenplay, you definitely deserve it, man. You deserve it over the most qualified and best candidates, because this script is gold. Like a golden turd. So fucking haunted. So this is the whole thing. It doesn't even. I don't even know whether or not he even saw the ghost of the homeless guy with the hot dog. I mean, for as far as I know, it could have just been a hallucination. The guy just saw a hallucination brought about by all the drugs he was taking. And and I bet the writers of this fucking movie took the same fucking drugs when they wrote this shit. And then you have the epilogue. The final, shot of acid cum that just splashes right in your face and burns your eyes and ears and nose off and goes right down your throat and burns your asshole. And this last shot is the hot dog vendor. It's revealed that I guess he's the creep, but it's in a way that is. This is literally one of the worst CGI effects I've ever seen in my life. His face just melts into diarrhea, into CGI diarrhea, and he laughs, and then and this film did this throughout, where it had this weird thing where a scene would stop with like a freeze frame, and then it would change color as if it's trying to look like a comic book, but it just looked like a really shitty effect that somebody put on the film with Windows Movie Maker or something. And then it cuts to the fortune teller bitch from the comic panel, where it was like half-assedly animated in the opening, and then some disembodied voice says this line of dialogue where it's just like, it's all about the future now. And then the end credits, I'm like, what the fuck? All about the future? The future where I never watch this fucking movie again? I guess it is about the future. It's all about the future of this failed franchise. And I know there's a Creepshow the series which is coming out, but once I found out that Taurus Entertainment, the same diseased, rotting testicle that produced this fucking disaster, they are involved with the Creepshow Shudder series. Yeah, my bullshit meter went off because these motherfuckers do not deserve to be anywhere near this franchise ever again after this. Bad touch. Bad. I mean, with the amount of just horrible atrocities that they brought upon this franchise, the amount of abuse that they gave the Creepshow franchise by just fucking it up the ass repeatedly with 5 I mean, I'm trying to think of a new word to describe how bad these segments are, but I'm not that creative. I mean, there's 5 hellaciously horrible segments. I mean, like I said, they deserve to be locked up, and they deserve to be thrown away. And the key deserves to be tossed away along with them. I mean, it truly is that bad. I mean, what kind of fucking shit is that? That's the last scene in the film. That's all about the future now. You got no future. Because you fucked up. I mean, everything about this film is abysmal and atrocious. I guess the only thing I can give this film is, I would say this: the makeup effects at times were pretty decent for a low budget affair. $3.5 million film. I honestly still don't believe this cost $3.5 million. Like, that's pretty mind blowing to me. Like, where did it go? Because it didn't just go into the effects. But yeah, I mean, excuse me, this film, I guess I'm burping. I'm fucking burping. I'm breaking out. My nose is itching like I'm a fucking coke addict. And now I'm burping. Like, this, I really need to stop talking about this fucking movie. So yeah, from about, on every single standpoint and on every single level, this film fails. From directing to writing to characterization to suspense to scares to horror to how it handles the horror anthology format. Everything fucking sucks. It really is a total crap show. Even the music is bad. I mean, the music sounds like it's just stock royalty-free horror music they got from a dodgy website in the 2000s. That's really what it's. It doesn't. There's no creativity. There's nothing to it, and you hear the same fucking tracks again and again. The cinematography by James L. Legoy might as well have been done and performed by a fucking Lego. Just and I'm not talking about a Lego guy, just a brick. The editing by Anna Clavel is, I mean, there's a lot. She should have just edited everything out of the movie, and just had no movie, because that would have been better and would have saved a whole lot of people a whole lot of pain and a whole lot of hurt. For some reason, HBO released this. I don't know why. I don't know why this was even released. Even as, I mean, because there was apparently something that Taurus was doing before this called Creepshow Raw. And I think Wendy, one of the actresses who played the blonde gal, the police officer in Reno 911, Wendy McClendon Lovell or something like that. She was in that Creepshow Raw segment, and there's only a 240p rip of that online, and I saw that, and I will say this, it's bad, but it's not quite the same level of bad as Creepshow 3. I mean, Creepshow 3 is not just bottom of the barrel bad. It's below the barrel and into the 7th, let alone 9th level of hell bad. That's how bad Creepshow 3 is. It's on that level of bad. It's not, oh, it's right here. No, it's all the way fucking down here. And no, I don't recommend you watch it. I don't recommend you see it just as a laugh. I don't recommend you, oh, well, I gotta see how bad it is. No, just don't even bother. Just avoid it. Avoid it. Do yourself a favor and don't put yourself through this pain and this misery. It's not worth it. I mean, look at me. Look at me. Look at this fucking shit. Look at this flaky skin and shit. Don't fucking do it. It's not fucking worth it. It's not worth the pain, the misery, and everything else that comes with it. I don't know what else to say about Creepshow 3. Except if I were to rate it out of 5 stars, it gets nothing. Do you think I'm going to give it anything other than just hatred and just the deepest, darkest, destructive feelings that I can possibly give a film? No, that's what it gets. It gets the deepest, darkest feelings from the pit of my fucking soul. I don't think there's a better way to end this than with a moment where things come full circle. Creepshow 3, Creepshow 3, you're so bad you're killing me. I would rather jump into the sea than watch one more minute, one more second of Creepshow 3. Fuck you, Creepshow 3. Fuck you and die.